And if I had to be another person to stand up, if I think, after really going through this, and looking at the files and looking at the case, if I really feel that Karen Reed didn't do this and I have to be a voice that stands up and helps, I will.
We're expecting to learn more about the allegations against the girlfriend of a Boston police officer who was found unresponsive in the snow Saturday morning. I-Team sources say Karen Reed was in a relationship with John O'Keefe. She's facing charges including motor vehicle homicide and manslaughter.
We're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
Now, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life.
Yeah.
I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times she admitted to it.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question. She asked a question, which is very different. She didn't admit to anything.
I'm going to tell you one thing. Karen Reed's not going to fold. Karen Reed's not going to give up. Defense team's not going to quit. The Free Karen Reed movement is going to continue. We will continue to raise funds for her. We will continue to do standouts across Massachusetts, across the nation, across the world to let everybody know what's going on here in the state of Massachusetts, the corruption. And we will continue to get the word out there. Believe me. Believe me. Free Karen Reed. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Let's Talk Live here on the LTL Media Channel. It is Wednesday. What is today's date? It's the 5th. It's the 5th, and I'm 12 days away from my birthday. But God, what a interesting day in court. There was a lot of court activity, a lot of hearings going on today. Obviously, we had Karen Reed with 2 hearings today, one at the federal court and then one back in the Norfolk County Court there in Dedham, Superior Court in Dedham. And we had Aiden Carney, Turtle Boy, had his hearing as well. I haven't got caught up too much on his yet because I did have to work today. But fortunately, I got to listen to Hank Brennan and his fuckery with the Sallyport video. And, I came home, I was online, I saw Video Jesus, Abby, posting a lot of stuff about, about the Sallyport video in today's presentation. I literally just slid into her DM. I said, hey, you're going to come on the show and talk about this fuckery sometime. She's like, why not tonight? I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I don't want to wait too much longer. I want to bring Abby in here. I'm sure all of you that follow her on X and all the shows that she's been on knows about her. So let me bring her in here on stage. Abby, what's going on? How are you?
How are you?
I'm well. So you are very qualified. We were talking in the green room. I didn't realize how qualified she really is with all of this stuff. And, I know a little bit about audio and video, but she knows a hell of a lot more than me. And it's super impressive. And if you can, I know this is the first time over here. I'm sure a lot of people have heard your story, but for people that haven't, can you just give us a little bit about your background, your qualifications? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, sure. So I've been working in production for over 20 years. I started out in actual production. So I was a producer. I did a lot of editing, more of the actual production type work. And my first really job out of college was working for Avid Technologies, which, if anybody knows, Avid's an Oscar-winning program that a lot of professional production houses uses. So I'm ACS certified and Avid Media Composer. I also worked on ISIS Shared Storage and Interplay. So I am very familiar with different video interfaces. And when we look at Equivision and a lot of the Equivision player type stuff, Equivision's actually pretty simple. It's a very user-friendly program. Police officers use it. Firefighters use it. It's a very prosumer type product. It's not a professional editing software program. So when I first approached this, I was like, oh, this is, a little bit easier. But I initially got into the Karen Reed case because my mom lives in Massachusetts, and she told me about this crazy video that looked edited, and obviously I was fascinated.
Like, oh, let me look.
Let me look.
Really?
And so I looked into it. I was like, oh, I could tell right off the bat, like, again, I've worked in this industry for a long time. I've done a lot of editing. I've seen a lot of time codes, a lot of files, and it was 100% edited. So,
wow.
But it's one thing to say edited, and then it's another thing to prove it.
Right.
So I actually bought the Sallyport camera. So I looked at the town of Canton records.
Really?
So I bought the Sallyport camera because they kept saying it was motion activated. That's not really how motion activation works, even on simplified sensor, security cameras. So I ended up buying the 3045E, which was the last camera at the time. Of course, now we know that they replaced the Sallyport camera because it was quote unquote defective.
Right.
And I'm sure they did that because the defense would have asked for it to try to re-replicate what I did. And so the last camera the town of Canton purchased for the PD was in 2019, and it was a 3045E. So I actually had to go on eBay, do a lot of bids, because this is an old camera. Like, this is not a new camera. I wouldn't say it's like, it's definitely not, it's an IP camera, but it's not, it's an older model. And this thing was flawless. Like, the motion activation, I have 3 cats. I set the motion parameters to like 5 feet. It would go off in like 15 feet, and it keeps continuously recording. And so I tested the actual camera itself. I tested it with Axis Companion, Axis Camera Station 5. And then I also tested it with Equivision because we saw in court it was played in Equivision. And so those two kind of go in harmony together of how they were played, if that makes sense.
I think I don't know. Like, I'm completely blown away. Like I said, this is the first time I've gotten the opportunity to talk to you. And I don't know. I think it's just really great when people have that special, like, they just get it. I don't know. Like, I know people sit down at a piano, and there's just some people that can play a piano and it's flawless. And listening to you and talk about this stuff, like, this is your thing, which is like awesome. It's such like a great thing to be able to decipher all this in easy terms for, laymen like myself, and maybe some people in the chat, or some people that are just as advanced as you. And I'm really fascinated. I can't wait to kind of break some of this down today and just show everybody, like, this shit ain't what Hank is saying. And the funny thing is, one, we heard some things about, I thought the timestamp was inverted, and I was wrong on that. I guess it was a different color. Someone said it was a different color.
It was different color and a different font, and it had a natural tracking, as I would say, with Equivision. Because again, I played around with the Equivision interface. I played around with the export files. And that's really, again, going back, because I've been doing production for 20 years. A lot of what I've done is really technical troubleshooting too. So like when files are corrupted, I rebuild the files, rebuild the matrices within XML, and then try to get it to replay again. Because even with big production houses, if you have a file that's edited and it's an hour and 30 minutes long, and all of a sudden it disappears and it's the final edit, and then things hit the fan and you need that recovered. So that's kind of like what I've done. So that's kind of how I approached it, which is more of like the metadata and the file structure. And then again, with also testing out the technical components like the camera.
Yeah. And then we heard, I kind of heard like Hank Brennan kind of throw Proctor the bus a little bit today. And then there was another video that he was doing a compare and contrast, like, this is what it looked like 28 days ago, and this is what it looks like now. And I kind of caught something on the side, and it was like either a filter or a mask that they put over. You could literally see the corner of it, and they like darkened the video. And there was a lot about that online. And then obviously the big one today, which we talked about a little bit backstage, and we can get into all this, is when they were showing the rear photo of Karen's SUV. There's the snow cover, and they're talking about the taillight, and we have the AI drop down. I think that was just kind of like the video gods telling everybody that this is fake. This is just fake. And I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but I was actually more fascinated with the premiere. So there was premiere,
there was Photoshop,
Yeah.
and there was another like amateur motion graphic software program literally in the icons.
But when I saw that AI drop down, I was just like, you got it. And it was there for like at least 30 seconds on
It
screen.
was. And they just didn't see it.
Yeah. And and then once someone caught it, but it was hilarious. It was like, do you want to edit this photo with AI? I'm like, what is the chances of this? I mean, come on. Let me just pull up the super sticker real quick. Deborah, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate that. Keeps the lights on here in the studio. So I don't know. Did you have any type of presentation or anything you wanted to go through? I have the court hearing that we can pull up if you need that to go through. I'm whatever you want to do. I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, I just, so when we go back to, I mean, we can kind of go through the hearing when Hank was talking specifically about, so there was one thing that they agreed on is that they didn't have proprietary metadata. And we all know video always carries metadata.
Right. Yeah.
And we had the Lally files, and we know that these magical files had the Equivision icon. It was appeared to play in Equivision. And I've been on the Young Jerks. So when I was on the Young Jerks, I kind of went through the proprietary type of files. I was only able to alter one file. So that was a .ps file. And if anybody has any questions afterwards, they can go to my Twitter. I did a bunch of kindergarten drawings of just what those files look like in the container. But that's the only file that you could really alter. But when we go back to day 20, when Lally was playing the files, we saw it was played in exe. And it was a very weird exe name too. And the way it popped up, it didn't look natural to me either. So I was actually able to recreate like an Equivision player. And basically what you were talking about today, where you saw the edges. Yeah. I did the same thing in After Effects. I masked it out. I created actually a proprietary player with an Equivision logo that pops up, plays, you can drag and drop. I mean, I can show it on the show. I won't play the audio because we don't get copyright on it, but
can we see it? Can we play with that or see it? That'd be great.
Yeah, so I'll just start off with, let me share my screen.
Hey, I have a question. So when they're playing video, I always notice that like either starts with a cone or ends with a cone, like a road cone. What is that? Is that just something? Go ahead. Yeah.
So that's VLC. So they're playing. So sometimes they play it in VLC, which is very weird because we have them playing the files in a lot of different programs. The CPD footage, and this is really where I got on to, because I was actually convinced that this was played in Equivision, just based on, like I was like, okay, how would I restructure this and like re-engineer it? I couldn't re-engineer the EXE, but I could re-engineer, which honestly, I don't think the Norfolk DA is that talented, but I was able to do it with a couple of batch scripts, which is basically just replacing the H.264 stream from like a MP4 file, because Equivision will export out an MP4 file, but it won't play an MP4 file because it only plays those 3 file types. But H.264 is a codec, so you can swap the codecs within the proprietary files. It's very complicated to do, but it can be done, just only in one file type. But I guess the main question was like it just kept bothering me that it was just that one EXE. So that's when somebody told me the other day, oh, look at the front. So that front of the exterior of the Sallyport?
Yes.
So I caught when it came up. Well, one of my followers told me when it came up, it was a Windows Media file. It was a Windows Media video. By the way, Equivision does not export. It's old school, and Equivision does not natively export that.
I mean, I'm embarrassing to say, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm embarrassing to say that. Do you know what I use to edit videos?
What?
The Windows Media. What is it? The Windows Media Player. What is it called? Windows Live Movie Maker. That's what I use.
You use Movie Maker?
Yeah, I just cut it because it's simple. It's so simple.
Oh my God. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Because I'll take like my long form streams and I'll cut them down maybe in like an 8-10 minute segment and I'll just upload it. It's just so easy. Like everything else I've tried to use, it's just it's like complicated. Maybe I'll pay you. You can teach me a course someday on a better editing program.
I will even cut your videos for you, so you don't have to use Windows Movie Maker.
Let me just get to these.
I love that though. That's so funny.
Windows Movie Maker. It's so simple. The Goodmans, such a great group of people. Thank you so much for being here. Member for 5 months is great guest. Thanks for all that you do. Love the G's. Thank you. And thank you for dropping the one membership here. Welcome a new member. Romney has also become a new member as well. Thank you so much. And Lauren just said, if you want your chat read, you can always send a super chat. We'll pull it up. If you have a question for Video Jesus, please go ahead and do so. So is there something that you wanted to show? I mean, we can definitely bring it up. I'm curious about all this stuff now.
Yeah, so let me share my screen. I'm going to try to share I'm just going to try to share the entire screen.
Sure.
Hopefully it doesn't get all wonky.
And then we can go, I think it's like a 10-minute portion of the trial where Brennan has it all up on the screen, and maybe we can break some of that down today too. That'd be great.
And I do have like a proprietary music track in it, so I'll see if I can I'll try to mute myself. It's like showing up weird.
It's all right.
Hold on, let me see if
take your time.
Is that try it. Oh, did you exit out of it? Yeah, try it. Try it now. Is it still showing up? Yeah, it's still showing up weird. I'll just try to share like one window at a time.
Okay.
So let me
if you want me to I'll
share another one.
Yep, take your time. Scott McGinnis is one of my moderators. Scott's such a good guy. He says, is Video Jesus also a video snob? Laugh my ass off.
I might be a little bit of a snob at some points,
It's great.
All right, let me see if I can. Can you see my screen now?
I can. We'll bring it up. There we go. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's 1 second.
Yep.
I'm sorry. This is like, I always hate with the share all screen, because sometimes when you share all of it, it doesn't work correctly. Let me bring up the other screen just because that's probably going to be more interesting anyway.
For sure. Take your time. We have plenty of time. The audience is here. They'll hang out. But anyway, thank you though for doing this. Like, I was just surprised. You were like, we'll just do it now. And I'm like, okay, I'm down. That was really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So if you want to share this screen.
Sure. Excuse me.
So right here is basically so you see the Equivision logo?
Yes.
This is a fake player. It's not real. So let me see if I pull this up. I'm gonna just mute myself for a second.
Yep. Please, everybody, just please make sure to smash the like button when you come in. It definitely helps this stream out big time. And we're going to pull the presentation back up here.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Trying to share both screens at a time. Technology.
Yeah. Oh, you have yeah.
Oh yeah, let me
mute the music. It's because I'll get whacked. So what's going on here?
So basically, this is a video of Equivision. So what I did for this, you see how this looks like an Equivision player?
Yeah.
It's not.
Interesting.
So basically what I did is I used MPlayer, which is a it's similar with FFmpeg. So a lot of people with FFmpeg will use MPlayer. You can customize a lot of different console props.
Mm-hmm.
So you can write different code and batch scripts to make the player play a certain way. So what I did was I wrote a script. I had the file, so I had an MP4 file. I changed it to a .ps extension. So if I go back to the original presentation, sorry, maybe I thought this would play better, but so if I go back to the original window for test projects.
Lee says, what a day. I love Abby's work, even when I don't get it completely. I think she does a great job of breaking it down to the simplest form. That's but the thing is,
it's not like super simple form type of thing. So, I mean, what I did, so basically this file right here. Oh, wait, if you want to pull that other screen up again.
Yeah, of course.
Oops. So this file right here is is actually like an MP4 file.
Okay.
And what I did, which is similar to this, is all I did was I just did like a rename file. So if we do so we just rename it .ps.
Sure.
Unusable, but we can always just put it back in this ePlayer here. Oh, sorry. So it's like a bunch of, basically what it does is it will play anything of any extension. I could probably name it .cat, like for a cat, or my cat's name Meeb, and it will still play it. So this is basically what we call like a fake player, and it looks legit. And what I used is a program to change the icon, which is called Resource Hacker. I will put the URL in the chat afterwards, but Resource Hacker will let you import like an exe file and then change the Windows icon on it. So for example, let's break this down into like Microsoft Word.
Sure.
If I wanted to change Microsoft Word and put a picture of a cat, so every time Microsoft Word came up in the Windows, so it looks like I'm playing, it looks like Microsoft Windows is a little cat emoji. I could do that with this program, Resource Hacker. So I changed the exe little logo, and then I used another program which is called Advanced Bat to Exe. Mm-hmm. So I will show the script for that. So this is just, let me pull up the notepad.
So in your opinion, who would be qualified to manipulate something like this that's, essentially on the Commonwealth? Would they have an outside, in your opinion, would they allegedly have someone that they would just hire and do all this stuff? Or do you think there's someone qualified enough on their team to do it?
No, I mean, if you look at, I don't want to get sued saying this.
Yeah.
But if you,
allegedly.
I mean, for like, defamation. But I will say, I looked at Colleen Crawford's credentials and other people within the video experts, and they have training in FFmpeg. This is a very simple player. And when I mean it's simple, like this script. So just before, because I don't want to like, sorry about the,
it's all right.
I just want to edit this notepad. It's not going to come up. So I'm going to share another screen. StreamYard does not make it easy to share screens, huh?
No, it sucks. It sucks. And you know what?
Yeah,
I hate.
It's really like not user friendly.
How about this? How about making it more user friendly for the creator? Okay. How about this? Yeah. Just have something so they allow you to stage guests. How about we're allowed to just stage tabs? So all I have to do, I just have to go click, one click, and my tab comes up. But when we present a tab, I have to unclick it, grab the link, post it up. There's like this huge delay in between where it could just be anyway.
Yeah, they should really make it simpler.
Yeah.
I shared this screen. So this is basically the BAT script. I mean, when I mean it's a super easy script to write. So this is just means echo off. So it's going to, when it starts. So there's like, if you don't have this script in there, if I drag that little icon, so if I drag like an MP4 into the MPlayer, it will like compile with all this code. So it's basically
Okay.
coding the video, like, it's playing all the code in the frames in the background. So what this does is this script start B, so it means it starts like kind of basically what it will do is it will hide the code. It will it will basically it's going to play the E player. So basically what I did is I named M player E player because E player is Acquavision.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into
I love that.
that program resource hacker, and I actually changed the copyright on it in the program. I mean, obviously, if you look deeper into the actual file, you'll see it's a sham. But on the surface level, if you just look at the file properties, it looks exactly like Acquavision logo, Acquavision copyright. And so that's how I changed that. But basically, this script, what it does, it tells the player, exe, to play sallytur.ps.
Oh, I see what you're doing now.
Yep. And the timeout means after it's done, it will like close out. This will let you play it. And then there's another part, which I won't go too technical into,
Sure.
but then there's like the console part. So the way that it populates when it pops up to make it look like a window. So like, those icons that we saw at the bottom of the screen today, including the Photoshop.
Yeah.
And the Premiere file in the Premiere program. That's what it will pop up as. It will look like Acquavision, and it will say Acquavision in the header of the video.
So interesting. Can we play through? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, we can play through the thing. I just wanted to show you that. So that's basically what I'm saying. There's two ways to do it.
Yeah.
So you can either alter that .ps proprietary file because that's alterable. I did do it. I don't think that the Norfolk DA is that skilled, but I will put it past them because they do FFmpeg. But that script is so simple, and it's two programs to make an exe look like a playable file type. It's not hard.
It's wild. Interesting stuff. Let me get to this really quick. Kelly, thank you so much for the $10. Says I can't be the only one who noticed the inverted video Hanky played as proof of inverted camera with yellow writing the normal way, but one shared to the jury was backwards in blue. Yeah, I think that's what I got wrong today. I said like the timestamp was inverted, but it was just the coloring was different on that. So I apologize. Oh God, I tweeted that out and people were just all over me.
No, I mean, it's so when you look at the time code that was played today, by the way, I don't think that's natural Acquavision time code. I think so. I did post a video. So the video that I showed earlier, the one that popped up in the exe, I actually created, so halfway through that video, I created time code in After Effects. So all of that is like pre-baked time code, and I just edited that in that way. Like when it's scrolling through, even when there's like House of Pain with the jump around, all the time code looks consistent because the time code basically I just baked the time code to look like Acquavision, and I think that's what they did today because it didn't look like it wasn't blue. The time code, the tracking of the time code, so like the space in between the characters. And this is why I'm like really weird and OCD. You can see the difference. Some of the videos, the time code was on top when it originally was on the bottom.
Yeah, it just and the scary thing about it at this point is like, how do you even know what is the true video at this point? I mean, there's no possible way of even telling that because it's been cut up and it's been altered and it's been recoded and chopped up and timestamps are all over the place and there's masks that have been put on it. It's just insane. All right, let's play through this Spanky here, and we'll play through this section. I just can't wait for the AA drop down. If there's any point, Abby, that you want me to stop to explain something, please do. We'd love you to opine on everything here.
I would love to opine on it.
Okay.
That piece where the fractions of it are found at 34 Fairview, right near Mr. O'Keefe's body. The same parts of the taillight fragments that are found in the sleeve of his shirt. And so it's not simply cracked. Even the witness they tried to lean on, Mr. Barrows, says more. And so if that taillight is not just cracked, that taillight is missing.
Here we go.
Exhibit number 2. Exhibit number 2 shows the inverted camera from January 1st.
Anything you notice here out of place, like with players or anything? I know you were talking about like you saw some Some interesting things on the screen
Well,
today.
so you see that purple button?
Mm-hmm.
That's Premiere.
Okay.
The blue button's Photoshop.
Yeah.
And then that orange one is what is that program called? It's like Hit Play. It's like a motion graphics program.
All right, we'll play through. Just
So
tell
those
me.
are all the elements that you would need. Basically, what you were saying about the sides looking weird, they did look weird. So you have Photoshop, Premiere, then you have a motion graphics program. What is that called again? I actually did post about it, so let me find it. But yeah, keep playing it.
Okay, tell me to stop if you want me to stop anyway here.
2022. Now this is 28 days before.
And there's your player right there with the V. That's the yeah, there it is right there.
Miss Reed's Lexus hits the Sallyport area. Now you can see.
Holy shit, you did recreate this whole thing. That's crazy.
On that wall.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking at it again, I'm like, holy shit.
Do you see it? But you know what's interesting about it too? Do you see how it was preloaded, how it popped up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how it was like it bugged out because what she didn't do in the code is so with the very specific code that I wrote, which I'm sure that she did because she's in FFmpeg, is you have to like write, you can either have it play full screen when it pops up, but you have to put like a specific script in this is a different script. This is just like more of like how you want the interface designed for how it's going to pop up. And if you don't do that properly, it bugs out.
Let's take a quick look at that again. I'm interested now here. Oh no, I get a spinning wheel. Let me refresh.
Because they do not trust the system to begin with.
Where am I? Sorry, everybody. Oh, there we go.
Exhibit number two shows the inverted camera.
See how it's preloaded?
January 1st, 2022. Now this is 28 days before.
Watch right there. It's like the buttons are like confused.
Oh, yeah.
You can see, if you stop that, please. Thank you very much.
And do you see how she didn't even have to stop it with the keys? It's a space bar.
Ah. Interesting.
It is.
And then you see those edges too.
This Sallyport video was not doctored by Trooper Proctor. It wasn't altered by Trooper Buchanan. It was in existence well before Miss Reed's car showed up to that Sallyport. Similarly, front wall camera, could you please put on exhibit 3?
Let me just pause this really quick. Get to this. Piney Woods, thank you. $5 says there's no taillight in his sleeve. Ugh, Brennan lied a lot today, literally screaming at the stream all day. I think we all were. I think we have, a lot of us have been lately.
It was magic. It was pure magic. When I literally did like a close-up version on my phone on my like bigger screen. I'm like, holy crap. They had these all preloaded because I think because when I was on the Young Jerks, I said the same thing. I was like, yo, like these file structures, look at these file structures. And I kept talking about the file structures. So it was interesting today that they had these proprietary files. Keep in mind, they're not proprietary. Like if these are real files, how are they played? Because if it's the defense doesn't have it. So where do these magic files come from? Because if they're not native files, they will not play in Equivision. And even in Equivision, like you can't play like an H.264 or like, MP4, an AVI, but yet they don't have the data from the proprietary.
Essentially what you're saying is you would need, so in Equivision, you would need, so this, I'm just trying to do layman. So if it's an MP4 file, you're saying that it's not going to play in Equivision. You would have to translate that somehow to play in Equivision. And what Video Jesus is trying to say is that these are already preloaded. So it was already essentially transcribed, but they're saying there's no metadata. So how can you transcribe it to play in Equivision if there's no metadata? Did I get it?
Exactly.
Yes.
Hallelujah. This is exactly what I'm saying.
Hey, that's what you
Because
get.
there's only 3 files that can play in Equivision. So yet this is still playing in Equivision, but they don't have the data.
So that's what you get for being a no talent hack grifter, right?
Hey, you know what? See, this is the thing is that they literally are saying that they don't have any metadata.
Yeah.
proprietary files. But they're playing proprietary files.
You're playing
that
a
are
proprietary file
preloaded.
that's been preloaded and converted to Equivision. So how is there no metadata? I get it now. I knew I would.
It's not
get it.
actually Equivision. It's what I did.
Okay.
It's like House of Pain.
All right, let's keep playing here.
Exhibit 3 is from January 28, 2022, a day before Miss Reed's
Now
vehicle
here,
makes it to
look at the. This is what I saw right here. This corner of the video. What is that?
You know what it is? It's a scaled up video to fit in the frame. And
I'm
I'll
going-
show you that. Actually, I have this pulled up too of how I did it. This is actually something I can share that's not going to bug
Want
out
to share your screen?
like crazy.
I'm like, what?
Can you
is
see my screen
that?
okay?
Yeah. Just tell me. Aha.
Actually, no. Is the right? Okay. So this is basically the video that I'm just going to mute this.
Yeah, your cat.
This
video.
is a demo video that I did. So if you
Yep.
see right here, this
Yep.
is a test exe. I probably should have just pulled this up in the first place. But when you bring it up, it looks like a real video.
Yeah.
Like you can move it around. You have a player like this. You know, we have like the House of Pain here, which is obviously not natural to Equivision.
Right.
But if we zoom in a little bit more, so let's just bring this in. We'll do 100%. We can go down to the bottom and we see like this is a fake time code that I created. But you see it's like 213.
Looks just like it.
Just like it. It's great.
Funny how that works. Huh?
Funny how that works. And you know what? If I pause the video, it will literally stop.
Wow.
Because I sync the time code to like the video, like the alpha, the alpha frame that I did it. So I mean, yeah. So I think if I have something, actually, no, this is out of. Let me just pull up the other thing for After Effects. I'll share my last share screen. Then we're gonna go to. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I'll pull that up for you.
So this is After Effects. So what I did with this is I basically used, can you see my screen still?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like I'm in the interface, but like if you, here we just have like the little frame. But, if I can add, so this is basically like a little mask that we did, and we made sure at the edges, because I'm OCD, made sure the blue frames of the edges matched, but I could just do none, and then we go back to the video. But for example, like if I wanted to, so if I want to subtract this, and then I want to put this video underneath, now it's back in. So it's just a layering process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've done that before too. I've done that in videos before too, where you just kind of keep layering things on top of maybe like, I'll edit a video, put, I don't know, a box in it and put some writing over it, or put a filter on it, or whatever it may be. You're just kind of stacking all this stuff on top of each other.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so it's basically how it was done. And so when you I know it's so the one way is super complicated. So if it was actually an Equivision, which I don't think it was, because if it was, I think at that point the defense would have had their experts check that file and say, oh, this isn't real. I don't know what I would just be fascinated to know the end file types that they have, the defense. Are they MP4s or are they proprietary? And as you saw, what I changed in the actual which I showed you at the start of the show, was I could change an MP4 just to .ps and play it in that M player. If I try to do that in Equivision, like it would just, that you can't do that in Equivision. Because it has different player files that are attached to it and that are associated with it.
But it's so what I want everybody to understand is that, Abby's essentially just recreating everything that we've been seeing absolutely what we saw today. it is capable to do this. And technically, if you have that skill, you know, it would be easy to someone like Abby, but for me and you to figure that out, it's probably going to be really tough. But
it's actually a pretty, I think that the first method that I was, because again, I was just trying to figure out how they played it in Equivision. The first way of changing that .ps file, like the actual native format, I'm talking like the native export that Equivision itself exports, because it's not a professional video program. Like that's harder to recreate. This is easy. It's
scary.
A batch script, After Effects, a little movie magic, and that's it. Like this is actually a lot easier than even trying to get like a altered PS to play in Equivision. So like this is probably, I would say, we have method A and method B. Method B is probably the most likely just because it's that easy and recreating that player wasn't that hard. It was, you know,
well, for someone like you, it's easy for me to do it. I don't know, like you could probably like show me and I could probably figure it out, but there's no way I would go, all right, I'm going to recreate a player.
I didn't even really think about, the only reason why I started to like shift that direction yesterday was because somebody said that they saw, like, again, the Windows Media video that was with Equivision, because it was Sallyport PD outside, and when it popped up, it was Windows. It was a Windows Media video, and that's not a native format that even Equivision will export. So I'm like, okay, this was definitely
let's dig into this.
Yeah. So that's what I was like. Oh, maybe this is what they've done with other files. And how did they get them to play with, you know, like that very specific look?
Yeah.
And sure enough, today we've got to prove my point. We got them all preloaded.
Glamma, Suze, thank you so much for gifting the 5 memberships. Welcome in new members. I appreciate that. All right, let's go back to we'll go back to the hearing. We can check that out. And from SB, $2 says Carl Jugel is the new spokesperson for the Boston Police Department. Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's pull the hearing back up. Yeah, this was wild when I saw this.
Yeah.
What?
You can see the quality.
Looks very cropped.
Yeah.
Started on purpose. It wasn't manipulation by the state police. This is the way the camera worked in Canton. Thank you very much.
One thing I wish that we had the ability to do too is like zoom in on stuff on StreamYard. It just doesn't let us do that.
Yeah.
It's another thing they should fix too.
So the idea of tampering.
Oh, we're going to get the AI.
The idea of tampering.
Yeah.
But we can prove it did not happen. Now, what we know is that missing taillight was not tampered with because it was gone hours before police even touched Miss Reed's vehicle. At 5:08 a.m., she left Meadows Road. That's John O'Keefe's home. And when she left at 5:08 a.m., that taillight part was already missing. If we look at Exhibit 6, please. This is from the Ring video of John O'Keefe's home. This.
Anything you see here that's out of place or?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. So like so if we look at, I'm just going. So like with this, that's definitely like VLC player. Sorry, I had to like look at that like really close.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's VLC player. So I can't see what is the extent? Can you see the extension on that?
It says the one that's highlighted right now.
Yeah.
Driveway cam clip _1 Meadows EXE or EVE. Let's see if we can get a little clearer. Ah, shit.
AVI. That checks out. I mean, but why is it? Wait, hold on. Was that clip right after the
Go ahead.
Which clip was that played in?
Hang on one second. We'll get there. Let's see.
If we look at Exhibit 6,
I'll
please.
pause if you need me to.
This is from the Ring video of John O'Keefe's home. This.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the Ring video. I mean, that's I mean, also Ring video doesn't export as an AVI, so that's kind of weird, right? Would export as an MP4.
What would it
so
normally
that's weird.
export as?
MP4.
MP4, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. See, this is the thing: is where did all these magic file types come from? They all seem very.
Yeah, why is
suspect.
there so many of them?
There's so many of them. There's a Windows, which, by the way, again, from a Equivision server, like an Equivision Equivision interface, there is a Windows video media file. There is an AVI file of a Ring camera, which, by the way, exports. Even Xfinity cameras do the same thing. They export as an MP4. Like,
Yeah, it's like
why an AVI?
Like AVIs, you're seeing all these different like video formats. It's like, what the hell's going on here? All
And
right,
then you see like that. So that motion graphics program that I was talking about. So do you see that orange icon at the bottom, like right next to Photoshop?
yeah, this one here with the eyeball on it.
Yeah, that's Hit Film. So that's like a very basic motion graphics program, which is how you can mask things out. It's ironic that she had all of these icons come up, and then the AI came up too.
That's so crazy. I can't wait to see that.
Video God was just watching today.
Oh, it had to have been.
The video God was watching and was not pleased.
Contradicts the idea that the Sallyport video is relevant to show any.
Oh, there's your file name right there. Oh shit! What'd I do? I went back too far. Damn it! That was.
Well, it's hard with the stream, but see, this is important stuff.
I know. Yeah.
Home. And when she left at 5:08 a.m., that taillight part was already missing. If we look at Exhibit 6, please.
Okay, let's see when it.
This is from the Ring video of John O'Keefe's home. This evidence directly contradicts.
Yeah, there it is. MP4.
MP4.
But wasn't it AVI inside the? What's going on?
Magic. See, this is a thing. This is a person that works at Norfolk County DA that does not know how to work FFmpeg. Like, it's literally 100%. It's sloppy.
The idea that the Sallyport video is relevant to show any break or planting of evidence. As Miss Reed nudges into Mr. O'Keefe's car, she will pull forward.
So here's funny thing now that I picked up on today. Now they're actually admitting that Karen made contact with John's car. In the first trial, Riley was dead set and said that she never made contact with his car. But all of a sudden now they're saying, oh, he nudged into her car. I picked up on that. I was like, you son of a bitch. Now you're going to say it.
And we'll stop the video in 2 spots so you can get a clear look.
Yep, that's right. Now she nudged.
Of that taillight missing.
Yet it's an AVI.
Right.
Forward, please. Thank you. And then ahead one more. You can see the white light shine. Stop. You can see it clearly missing.
Because I'm going to show you the original video because the brightness has been turned up on this video.
I know that. And I saw that today too. I was like, that's not how it looked.
Yep. And I'll show everybody right now because I actually did an enhancement way back like a year ago on this. And here's the actually original video right here. This is what it looked like. So they turned this up. And let me go back and I'll just show everybody a little bit of this. I remember doing this. It was like I still had COVID and I was doing a voiceover and I was like, it's so sick. But we'll play it. I mean, this is the original video. There it is right there. You can see the contact with John's SUV. I'm going to turn my voice off. And you can clearly see, I mean, she hits his car. And then when she pulls away, see, it's not as bright as that video.
And you know how you know that too? It's the snow.
Yep.
The snow has been like the exposure has been high, not the highlights.
Yep. And I was like, that's way off. And I just want to get to the point where kind of where he had it in the video where she pulls out here, right here. We'll go back. All right. I just want to show everybody this.
Highlights.
It's way different. Like I'm going to stop it here. Let me just go back. I want to pause it right. All right, right there. And let's go back to what they showed in court today. It's so turned up.
Yep.
It's so turned up.
I saw it today. I was like, no effing way.
They
No way.
turned up the brightness in this video.
It's the highlights, the brightness, the
Everything.
shadows. They put like a curve on it. And they even did
Seriously. I mean, it's I'll just go back to the other screen really quick so everybody can get this in their mind. That is, look, that's the original video. That's the one that was played on court TV. They totally turned up the brightness, the contrast, whatever they had to do. They manipulated that video as well too. I mean, it's nuts. And if anybody's curious to seeing that video, the enhancement video that I made, and just basically zoomed in, you can click on that link after the show and check it out. Give it a like, comment. I'd really appreciate it. All right, let's go back to the court stream today. And again, I want to thank Abby Video Jesus for doing this for me today. If you haven't checked her out, if you're on X, you need to follow her because she breaks down a lot of this video. And I apologize. What is your @ sign? Or just can we type in?
Yeah,
Video
so it's
Jesus and
just
find you?
Yeah, so it's just at Abby ABBY ELIZABT. And you just find me, Video Jesus. I'm the, I'll come right up. If you put hashtag Video Jesus, you'll find me pretty easy. And then I'm also on YouTube, so I will be breaking this down with a better screen share. And I actually did post something in the chat too that we can talk about after, of just like another little breakdown that I did this like 2 minutes. But I'll be posting like a more in-depth thing too on my YouTube, which you can find me at CT Video Jesus on YouTube.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, here's the perfect of the taillight. And you notice today when Brennan showed, he didn't show the whole video of Karen actually pulling out, which was kind of interesting. They cut that short. But let's go back to the trial. We'll listen a little bit more here and kind of break. I can't wait to get AI drop.
I like the saturation too.
Yeah.
Saturation's nice.
And when the red is missing or gone, as it is in this case, the white bulb still shines, and that's why it shines white.
It doesn't shine white.
If you watch the original video, I had it up on the screen. It does not shine white. What the hell is he talking
And by the
about?
way, even on other streams too. So like if you go to court, I think it's like true and crime. So you always have to look at the other production cameras that are involved in it too. I have never once seen this video look like that ever.
Never. That's what I mean.
We're not in the courtroom, but I've never seen a video look like that.
I mean, that's what he was just showing. Where is it white?
It's not.
It's not. Like, here's the clip they're showing. It's so enhanced. Like, what?
They didn't even play it through, did they?
No, they stopped it right here and cut the screen.
Is also contradicted by the ARCA witnesses.
It could also be like a very large piece
Dr.
of
Wolf
snow that makes it look
testified
whiter, which is like a very
831
convenient
of
place
trial.
to the closet.
It's noted as Exhibit 10 in our package. Page 36. ADA Lally asks the good doctor, now, doctor, in the course of your analysis or review of materials here, were you ever provided with a video of the defendant backing out a garage and making contact with Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle in his driveway at about 5:07 in the morning on January 29th? He says, I'm not aware of that. And then if we move to page 124, line 1. Now, line 2. Now, as far as you're aware from your review and your testing and everything that you did in this case, if a collision occurred at a lower speed, say 1, 2, anywhere from 0 to 5 miles an hour, would that create the damage to the taillight that you observed in this particular case? And Dr. Wolf says, at that speed, no. We provided notice of our own expert. And there's one thing, many things, but one critical thing the experts will all agree on. That nudging did not cause the damage.
Not a
to
nudge.
that taillight.
Not a nudge. And
I literally, so I will divulge this. I am a terrible driver. I am the typical chick female driver that is like very bad at driving. My boyfriend will tell you I'm a terrible driver. I'm terrible at directions. Literally the other day, not even like 2 weeks ago, I was at the car wash and I backed my car up into the coin machine because like the thing wasn't opening. And I literally broke my taillight, and I have a Jeep. Like, and I just nudged it. I nudged it. I wasn't going fast. I was less than a mile an hour, and I broke my taillight. I'm not saying the Lexus taillight is the same as the Jeep, but
For sure.
let's just be real. It depends on where you hit it and at the angle that you hit it on, and it's possible.
I'm definitely going to go back at some point. I'm probably going to do a stream about this and do the compare and contrast of like what they're saying now versus, I'm telling you, Lally literally said that Karen didn't make contact with John's SUV. I got to go back and find that testimony.
Yes.
It's crazy. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh, she nudged it.
But it wasn't, they nudged it.
It wasn't a
before.
nudge.
The defense position is also contradicted by dash cam footage. Sadly, an officer went to the O'Keefe home to check on his niece and nephew on that tragic day. And when he did, he had a dash cam video further reinforcing that taillight is missing well before that vehicle makes it to the Sallyport area. If we could,
Isn't it crazy when they took all these 47 pieces and they put them all back together that one piece was missing?
Yeah, it's
They didn't
so
have all
weird.
the. How does that happen?
Exhibit 7, which is the dash cam footage showing Mr. O'Keefe's car in his driveway.
Well, here we go. We're gonna get the
8:22
AI
a.m.
drop down now.
Close up from the court.
I mean, you
Compare the
can't.
right
I mean,
side.
come on.
The video god was watching. He was not pleased. He told me himself today. And I am the video
Holy
Jesus.
smoke.
He was not happy. Well, he was happy, actually. He was ecstatic because this is going to free Karen Reed. This whole thing, they literally dug themselves a hole in bringing up these exhibits. They should have just let it lie.
And it literally says, edit your images using AI, perfect for your perfect your images or transform them into something brand new. What? Why would that even pop up? I'm going to try to like experiment with this. I don't know what program are they using? And I want to like manipulate the photo with AI and then reopen it and see if it like pulls this thing up.
Oh, I already did this.
Oh, you did?
This photo. I've done this photo before, and I saw the original. I think it was on Aussie's channel.
Yep.
And I actually did this whole demonstration in Photoshop, aligning an Lexus up with this car, and like showing the indent of the sharpening like mask tool that they used for it. Like this is an enhanced photo. Like it's not natural. Like it literally has like an edge, a bevel on it.
Yeah, and it looks like they softened like everything in it too. Like all the edges look softened. I don't know when I look
except the taillight one. It's literally you can see the tool marks.
Yeah. Wild. All right, let's play through here.
On the left side. Although covered and impacted by snow, if you could more close up, please, you can see that taillight, just like the detective from Dighton said, just like the 508 ring video shows, is missing. There's no plant.
No plant.
The defense's position is also contradicted by the alarm.com video that we received pursuant to Rule 17. There are two videos, 8 and 9. If we could play Exhibit 8, please.
Here's the cone I was talking about.
There we go.
This is the defendant's car arriving in Dighton in the driveway. The defendant on the passenger side, and you can see them walk to the back of the car near the right taillight and stop. And if the question is, what are they stopping for? We can play video 9. This is when the car is being put on the tow truck before it makes its canopy.
You want to snow that day.
And just like 508 in the driveway of Meadows, John O'Keefe's home, you will see that right taillight shine white, showing the missing taillight cover on 2 occasions. If you have an opportunity to stop the video at the important points, please do so.
These are 2 separate videos, right?
Yeah.
Can you lower it?
We cannot.
Why two separate videos?
Yeah, what happened? What happened all in between that
Yeah.
and this? I mean, you would figure it'd be a long video, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, security camera footage just doesn't stop. This is the thing, is to keep blaming motion activation. I can tell you right now, I tested the Sallyport camera, which is, again, like, I think is a 3045E.
Yep.
It's the last model. I literally tested this camera for over 150 hours. I never had one mistake with it, except once when my cat literally was eating the cord, and I dropped the connection for maybe like 10 seconds.
Right.
Like, this thing is like, it's super sensitive. And if you set it off, it goes on for like 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes at least.
I have a question. So let's go back to like the original video. Remember when we were getting like the apparitions of people like jumping and, like the ghosting effect of people kind of like popping up? What causes something like that? Are they cutting it and overlapping the video and stitching it together? Or is it just like multiple cuts that's happening?
It's multiple cuts because again, like security cameras usually like they film on a very low frame rate, and this is mostly for storage. So I suspect, again, the camera was probably shot at like 15 frames per second. And then when you put a 15 frame per second video into into like After Effects, right? And you don't you don't keep the frame rate. What happens is when you cut on a frame rate that's low, so if you have 15 frames per second and you cut on a 15 frame per second video and you convert it to 2997 or any other, higher frame format, it starts adding frames. And security cameras specifically have less iframes, so they have like more of a long form GOP pattern. So group pictures, which means basically like the intra frame, which think of like an intra frame as like a photograph, like a full res photograph, super clear, and it can be encoded and decoded by itself. The remaining frames after that are basically predictive. And that's why you get like this ghosting, what we call temporal. And that's kind of how I got really involved in this, is because I saw the temporal compression artifacts, which is basically that ghosting apparatus. And that happens when you cut specifically in a long form GOP pattern, and it starts adding predictive and bidirectional frames, and you get like that ghosting. Naturally, that doesn't happen. So if you look at the Sallyport, the original, the fastest object in that video is the car coming in. And when the car comes in, it does not cut once, which is interesting for something like that too, because if there was, again, maybe some kind of corruption in the file, you would expect that to cut because, again, it's the fastest thing in the video itself, but it doesn't cut. It cuts on active motion, and you can see where the cuts are because of the ghosting apparatus. So it's like basically cutting on a P frame, and the program is guessing, what frame comes next. Does that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying. Is there ability when you have a video that's all kind of chopped up like that, can you put it into a certain program and it will tell you like where, like, you know what I mean? Like if I was to take one of my long form videos and kind of cut it up into different sections and I'm stitching it all back together and I save it all as one file, is there a way that I could put that into a program and know that it's actually been cut up, or is there no way to possibly tell that?
There is a way to tell that. And that's kind of what I've been trying to really get out there, is you can tell this video is fake from multiple angles. The GOP compression. So what you could do is go into a program. I like to use Phil Harvey's XEIF tool. So it's great. Harvard uses it. It's like Harvard certified. A lot of like different programmers use it to analyze different files. And you can, with that program, you can, analyze the actual metadata within the container itself. And you can also use FFmpeg and FFprop, which again is kind of how like that mplayer was also, it's kind of like a player that kind of goes along with that. A lot of people use that for FFmpeg. But you can tell that when you look at the GOP pattern. So if there is a break in the GOP, so GOP is basically an algorithm of when a video is encoded. So if the video is encoded unnaturally, So that would be like when there's cuts in frames where shouldn't be there. So maybe there's like more P frames or B frames, then there should be I frames in the natural pattern of the file. That's one way you could debunk it. The other way you can debunk it is literally just looking at the XML. XML does like the XML file that's usually, you can look at that from video. That will also tell you if the program's been, unless like you're smart, which I will say I'm not certain if they would find this in the XML just because, again, they have video experts. They're not great, but I would hope that they would cover up like the file information. But if I pulled up a file right now on my computer that I edited in Premiere and After Effects, if I look at the XML, it's going to have Premiere or After Effects data. It will show the cut data. It will show the color information. It will show if I added gain or if I added different effects, if I added, different motion vectors, what we call keyframes. So that's what that information would tell you. I would hope they would get rid of it because that'd be super sloppy, but they could have it. So that's where it's important is to look at the XML file, look at the file container itself, because sure, you might not be able to get all those activity logs, but there's other ways to debunk a file other than just those activity logs, just from a basic, encode, decode perspective.
So just to kind of break this down a little bit, and I'll get to those super chats. I just saw them come in, so don't want to lose my train of thought here. So when you're saying activity log, that's as many times as maybe a file is put into an editing program, it's manipulated, pulled out, put into an exit. It's showing every single thing that has been done to that piece of video, correct?
So there's Equivision activity logs. There's like the Windows logs. So that's like, something that you would be able to find on where like it was stored on the hard drive if you image the drive. So that's one type of data. The XML basically does kind of the same thing, more or less, just to simplify that down a little bit more. It will basically tell you exactly, and these XMLs are usually like, they could be anywhere from, if you pull it up in Notepad or anything like that, they could be anywhere from like 100 different pages. But you'll see the processing information. And one thing that you should be looking at in the processing information is when these frames were created. And so, for example, if I'm doing something sloppy, as Hank Brennan likes to say, XMP magic, there's a program called XMP and another program called Magic. By the way, that doesn't exist. The program's called XMP Magic. XMP is literally a field and a file type. Like, anyways, I digress. But you could look at, the container information. So if that's changed, the container, so the XEIF formats should also match the XML. So if there's like a creation date and the XML is showing a different creation date, that's also a good indication that the EXIF data has been changed on the container level and the XML is showing different data. So that's where you really have to go really deep on the file structure itself to see those different artifacts.
Crazy stuff. And that's probably why they have, people at the FBI and CIA that are super smart in this that can break all this stuff down. But it's interesting to listen to. I get some of it, but some of it I'm just like, just show it to me.
It's hard because it's hard to explain, and even I try to break it down. It's easy. Even showing it is a little hard to show too, because it's not just something of like a Safari Google search. There's different algorithms to different video file types. So it's if you don't know video in that aspect, it's very hard to break down, because like, okay, what is she talking about? But if you do know video, it makes sense. In the encoding side.
Lee, thank you so much for the 20. She said, if the defense team per dev acts as one, why isn't co-counsel Lally questioned? He knows the video. Anyone know why? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I really don't know. I appreciate the question, but I'm not going to try to opine on that, on something that I don't know.
I like the word opine.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think here. Why wouldn't, the way that I look at it, what have we been seeing that's been going on through this entire hearing? Bev is the Commonwealth. She's going to side with the Commonwealth. Now, if the defense into your kind of just say this, like, well, why doesn't the defense team question it? Why doesn't the defense team raise something like that in the hearing and say, well, Lally knows the video. I mean, they possibly could do that. And going back to Alert One systems, I think going back and talking about the security camera you're talking about, said it all depends on what sensitivity setting is. Thank you for the 2. It says it's really based on the pre and post time, record time.
So when I tested the camera, so I did like the default. So, and I did the default settings. I did, like a lesser sensitivity setting, and then I did a more sensitive setting. And even at the default setting, even at like a lower setting, it was, even if and I have a lot of cats. So even if my cats were like 5 feet away and that was probably like the lowest sensitivity, it would still trip it. And then you are correct with the pre and post, but I mean, the default settings in Equivision, you have to assume that nobody's going to like really customize it other than like the default type of thing. And that's why even the quality wise, I kind of recorded low quality, and then I also recorded like a higher quality. We can also see it in the Sallyport too. So when you record low quality, you'll get a lot of square pixelation. And in the original Sally,
like artifacting.
Yeah, you get a lot of that square pixelation artifacts. The interesting thing about the Sallyport, and again, I haven't seen we only see the files that are recorded from like a broadcast camera. But even that, there are other files that you can see a little bit of the square pixelation. The Sallyport, you don't see any of that. You actually see very smooth edges. So even if it was recorded with a broadcast camera, like on a TV screen, you would still see some kind of, like pixelation a little bit, right? You don't see that at all at the Sallyport. In fact, you actually see a very unnatural blur. And if you look at the center of the frame, you'll see a dummy, and the dummy is a good reference point. So from like above the dummy, you see like almost like a mask.
Yeah.
A blur mask on the bottom, a blur mask on the top, and then very weird parts of the Lexus that are like worn focused. And then what's close to the camera. And these lenses, they're very wide lenses. And the distance from the Axis camera, I actually did a test where I measured out 5 feet intervals for my living room to see if you could see my face from 5 feet away, 10 feet away, 15 feet away, 25 feet away, because I have a pretty big living room. And about at 25, it started to get a little blurry, but you could still make out like the patterns to my pillows on my couch, like very specific things. So that's why, again, I think that, if you look at those aspects too, it makes it a little sketchy of like, it was probably default and then blurred afterwards.
Lots of manipulation, lots of things going on with these videos. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, I personally don't think the defense is ever going to get that original video, because how can we even trust that it's the original video now? I mean, we're almost 3 years out. And the scary thing about it is defense team is still literally getting discovery up until now. And, I know the reason why they're getting away with all this shit, and it's going to probably be raised in court and brought up. But like Bev said, it's a new trial. And that's scary. That's very scary for Karen, what they're doing. It's being done on purpose. I was literally at Karen's birthday dinner the other night. We did a celebration, and she's talking about, she's like, it's crazy, like what they've been doing. She said, we're literally getting ready to go into a hearing, and the night before they dumped 400 pages of files on us for us to go through and source and see if there's anything in here that we're going to have to be able to use or look through that's going to be relevant in the next hearing. And that's been the process, and it's all done by design. This is all this, a strategy to just keep trying to throw bombs at them. But I'm very confident, extremely confident in her lawyers. She has the best team. I don't think they would ever put her in any position of jeopardy. With the whole thing the other day about the ARCA witnesses, and Bev made them all stand up in the hearing and say, did you know about this, and put it on the record. I'm like, do you really? And that's like, and there's a lot of online battles, especially on Twitter. Oh, they're lying. I'm like, do you really think that Alan Jackson would get up, risk his reputation, and be disbarred to get up and lie about not knowing particular information, it would not happen.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't
Yeah.
happen. So it's
Crazy.
crazy. But as we get more video, I would love for you to come back sometime and explain all this stuff to us, because it's very fascinating. I'm learning a lot through this, and I know that I'll be keeping an eye on your X account. And I appreciate you jumping up last minute here and hanging out on LTL tonight.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for inviting me. This was really fun because I really wanted to get out again what we saw today, just based on those player files. The defense should look at the media player that they got and the files that they got, because I can guarantee you if they have a media player in there that says e-player, they should check out the e-player that's embedded in there in the files themselves too, because I think that they could definitely, even though they're never going to get those activity logs, I don't think they're going to get the original videos, but I think that you can still debunk those videos and prove that they're fake just based on that kind of information.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. The defense team will find a way to kind of bite through all this red tape and make some sense of it. And, you know, again, and I don't know if you agree with me, I think for my strategy in this, for the defense team, I think, and I've used this acronym on my channel a million times over, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Not that I'm calling them stupid, but you know what I mean. And I think ARCA is going to be a huge thing. This Sallyport video, obviously this whole thing with the Sallyport, the tail light, I think those are the three major things here. ARCA especially is going to be the key player in all of this.
For sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby. I appreciate it. I'm going to close up the show here. I appreciate you jumping on with me.
Yeah, no, thank you so
in a very
much.
spontaneous moment, you were like, I go, you got to come on and explain this fuckery sometime. You're like, just do it now. And I'm like, all right, let's go. But we'll have to have you come back here if we get any more manipulated video. I hate to laugh, but
we're going to get some more. It's going to happen.
We're going to get more. And you're always
going to get more magic files.
Yeah. And we'll go through some of the stuff again. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right. Awesome. Take care. Have a great night. Thank you. Okay. Don't leave yet, everybody. I have a little bit of breaking news here. And this was just passed to me at the very beginning of the show. So this is about an hour old now. Oh, I just started really bad. So Christina Rex is reporting. This is a new statement released to me by Victoria George, an alternate juror from the Karen Reed's first trial. She is an attorney, and she has given me the permission to share this statement, which is her reaction to today's hearing, as well as her name. I was a fair-minded juror who left this trial questioning the integrity of the system long before the defense filed a motion to dismiss with allegations of jury tampering. It is the Reed case itself and the fact that it is still being brought that it has left many in Massachusetts wary, distrustful, and scared of our system. As a lawyer, this really saddens me, and even more because I remember how much faith I had in our system as an optimistic law student. She goes on to say, Mr. Brennan made an impassioned argument today regarding his alleged concern that some might be questioning the quote fabric of our entire judicial system. If he truly would like to address that problem, I have a few suggestions. Perhaps the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office should be more focused on remedying the systematic issues plaguing it and its affiliated police departments rather than continue to spend millions of taxpayers' dollars prosecuting a case with so many evidentiary issues that it calls into question whether they are even following their ethical obligations as prosecutors. The Commonwealth has a duty to protect the rights of defendants, and I, for one, would love to see them do so. Very, very powerful statement. And another juror or an alternate juror has now spoken up and gave their opinion about what's going on. And we're wasting, hundreds of thousands, probably into the millions now of Commonwealth money to put someone, a factually innocent woman. I mean, if you don't see it all here, what's going on, It's all becoming clear now. And they will stop at nothing. They will stop at nothing because they need Karen Read to go down for this, because it hides all the corruption. It hides all the corruption all the way up to the top office, Morsi's office, and beyond. And believe me, I have had many questions now about the law enforcement that are policing our streets. It's pretty scary around here. And, you know, when I drive home at night, I make sure I'm driving the speed limit. I have my seatbelt on, whatever it may be. My car is in compliance. There's no headlight out or tail light or whatever it may be. My inspection sticker is good because I don't want to get stopped. I don't want to get stopped. So crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. All right, everybody. I am going to wrap this one up. I want to thank Abby, Video Jesus, for jumping on tonight and going through some of this craziness with what we saw in the courtroom today with edited videos, AI drop downs. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And I'd love to have her back at some point and to continue to go through some of these videos and photos that pop up. And maybe she can say, hey, yeah, we need to take a double look at that because it ain't right. It ain't right. But thank you all so much for being here. I love all of you. I see a ton of Ghost Squad members in here. Thank you for everybody that popped on and, donated super chats tonight. I think I got a Cash App as well, and I just want to read that before I head out. Let's see. Heather, thank you so much for the $15. She said, free Karen Read. Thank you for keeping Enrique's story alive. We will not forget, and we will not forget. And I will have some follow-up soon on that. We will keep, pounding the table and rattling the cage for Enrique to try to get some answers as to what happened to him. And of course, we'll continue our coverage here of Karen Read. So thank you all so much. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And that's going to be it for tonight. I love all of you. It was very nice the other day to go down to the courthouse and reconnect with some old friends down there. I haven't seen them in a while, and I look forward to doing that more in the future. All right, guys. I am guys and ladies. Sorry. I am Brian LTL, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Have a good night. Bye-bye.